Somebody's managing my retirement.
All right, let's go.
Yeah, no, not,
Yeah, I'm not managing it.
right.
I'm not smart enough for that.
I'll go over what I talked with Paul on that. I find it very interesting. All right, so let's go to, I'm talking to you,
Oh, sorry, what?
this thing. Okay. Let's go to, this one's a public hearing too, fiscal year 2025 budget amendment.
Kyle Green came back. All right, good evening, Mayor and Council.
Kyle, we're limiting you to 3 minutes, no 3 hours.
Oh, 2 minutes.
There you go. We
Comment on this one.
I guess, or to Jennifer.
Let's go.
All right, so most of the things we're going to address tonight are issues with programming and a few things that have already been approved, so should go quick. These first 2 slides are just the summary pages so that you can see what it does to the beginning and ending balance, just for your reference there. First one we have is emergency management. So the emergency prep fair has a running balance that gets carried over from year to year. So their ending balance at the end of the last fiscal year was $14,541. So I'm just proposing that we pull that out of fund balance and put it into their expense account to be used for the emergency prep fair. And that was held in September. And then the second part of that is that we've received various donations or sponsorships for the emergency prep fair in this current year in the amount of $5,500. So again, just recognizing that revenue and allocating it to their expense account. All right, this next one, we received a donation for the Fall Festival from Rocky Mountain Power in the amount of $500. I believe this was used to purchase the truckload of pumpkins for that Fall Festival. In police, there's a number of items. The first is the Citizens Academy. Again, it has a running balance that gets carried over from year to year. At the end of last year, their balance was $917, so I'm proposing that we pull that out of fund balance and allocate it to their expense account. And then the other item that has a carrying balance is the donations that they receive. So at the end of last year, they had a balance of $16,225. And then so far this year, they've received $6,500 in donations. So I'm proposing that we pull their ending balance out of fund balance and then recognize the revenue for the donations they've received currently. And then I'll note that $500 that they received this year was specifically for the K-9 program. So that's why you see that $500 broken out to the K-9. And also in police, they've received a couple of grants. The first one, the early intervention grant, we received that at the tail end of the last fiscal year, and it got recognized as revenue, but the expense came out in the current fiscal year. So last year it went into fund balance, and just proposing to pull it out of fund balance and allocate it to their expense line. And then this year they've received a wellness grant for $3,996 that I believe is used for the Providence, the EAP. So we're just recognizing that revenue and giving to the expense. All right, beer tax is another balance that gets carried over from year to year. So their balance at the end of last year was $6,519. So again, just pulling out of the fund balance and putting it into their beer tax expense account. In July, the city hosted a K-9 training at the beginning of July. So most of the revenue we received got recorded in fiscal year 24, but all the expenses came out in 25. So again, just it went into fund balance, proposing to pull it out of fund balance and then allocate it to the expense line that paid for the training. In community events, we received a number of different sponsorships and donations for the 4th of July celebration. So we're just recognizing the revenue and allocating it to their expense line. All right, for this one, it involves the RAP tax fund as well as the general fund. So a couple years ago, just for efficiency purposes and financial reporting, we decided to move any unused RAP tax funds that had been allocated to the Whitaker. At the end of the fiscal year, we put it back in RAP tax so that we don't have to report it as restricted cash. So we tracked their balance, and council at the time expressed a desire for these funds to be still remain available for the Whitaker. So their balance at the end of last fiscal year was $12,795. So I'm proposing that we pull that out of fund balance in the RAP tax fund, transfer it to the general fund, and then it'll be available for the Whitaker to use for their building. In the Parks Fund, we received a grant out of $150,000 for the community park playground that didn't get recorded on our initial budget. So we're just recognizing that revenue and allocating the expense. And then we also received a donation for the community park pickleball court for a practice board. And Kevin wouldn't want me to say this, but it came from him in ESI, so thank you to him. Capital Projects Fund, we had, so the police ordered vehicles, I believe it was in the fall of 2023. They did not arrive until October of last year. Excuse me. So they were unspent funds in fiscal year 24's budget. So I'm proposing that we, again, pull it out of fund balance and allocate it to their expense. And then we have two items that have been approved in this current fiscal year. The first is the park bed attachment for $15,000 that was approved in November. And then a month ago, the parks mini excavator that was approved by council. Yeah, just using fund balance to pay for those two items. And that is everything. Again, you just have the summary here before you to see the total impact. Are there any questions?
Scott, you got your debits equaling your credits.
That's right.
Your funds in, funds out.
What's the difference again? I'm just kidding.
Government. Those were quite a few.
There are a few.
Yeah. Thank you for the donation, Kevin, the grant that we got, and the donations to our youth as well too, so it's great. So what other questions you have for him? I guess we're looking for a motion if you don't have any other.
So this is a public hearing.
Oh, sorry, public hearing. No, okay. No questions for him before I go to public hearing? All right, so this is a public hearing regarding fiscal year 2025 budget amendment. That hearing is now open for any member of the public that wants to comment on this issue that's here in person or online. It's got to stick to this issue. You're too late for others. Seeing nobody coming forth for the public hearing, I will close the public hearing and we will go back to, if there's questions for Nate. If not, we're looking at, we have a resolution in front of us.
I move that we approve proposed resolution number 2025-03.
Second.
Ty, choose who you want.
Me and Gina both that long to wake up.
Let's do a vote on this. Councilman Summerhays going to the right.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Yeah, we good.
Thank you. That motion passed unanimously. Boy, we could only been that quick before. All right, let's go to, I'm going to skip over item number 2. Item number 3, community parking lot expansion. We have in front of us a bid award. Looks like Kevin stayed up late and he's walking forward, so he's thinking you might have questions, or he wants to explain it to you. Do you, Kevin?
You see, you notice I didn't put in summary action? I'm starting to know this council. You guys want to talk?
Yes. That's right, we talked about it. We said we won't do it, huh? Okay, tell us about the bid award.
Yep, this was the item I came for on the agenda, so.
Very, very excellently done. Yes.
We received a lot of very competitive bids. The bidding climate has been really pretty good this this winter, I guess I should say. So we received a bunch of bids on the tank. We were happy with that. Received probably double the amount of bids that we're used to seeing type of project, so we got a very good price. We checked their references, and we feel comfortable recommending award to this contractor. Even though we haven't worked with them before, we feel like we've checked enough references to feel comfortable using them.
I just want to make sure that none of this parking lot expansion is going to be affected by freeway expansion, and if it is, we're going to get reimbursed for it. I asked Brent when we brought up.
Yeah, Mike Carlson and I were in a meeting today where they showed us the alignment through this area. It looks like they are going to be impacting our infrastructure where we have the water fill station and the small sub-drain tank. The larger irrigation tank, they're gonna be able to work around. But the sidewalk is getting shifted slightly. The existing parking lot is looking fine, but they're gonna use up that lawn space between the back of sidewalk and the curb and gutter along the west side of the parking lot. But the existing parking lot in the park is not going to be
So will they
impacted.
use the entire park strip? So it's like asphalt on the frontage road, curb, gutter,
Side-
sidewalk, parking lot?
There might
Or
be
they
a-
even
there
be a
might
sidewalk?
4-foot park strip and an 8-foot sidewalk up against the curb and gutter that's in the parking lot, so you might get a 4-foot park strip. I'd have to double check those
Okay.
dimensions, but most of that green space will go away.
Because we'll have to continue the sidewalk that we have along the full frontage road.
Yes, and it'll be an 8-foot, it's more of a path. They're trying to
Yeah,
make
that's
it look,
true. That's a better
you know,
definition.
more of a trail, so
That will
our
stay
schedule-
intact?
we're scheduled to get an 8-foot wide sidewalk with a 4-foot buffer,
Okay.
And then the curb and gutter?
and then the curb and gutter for the frontage road,
Okay.
so you'll have a nice 12-foot.
So we'll still keep the 12 feet?
When you say it's gonna look like a trail, it's gonna be kind of a shared use type, like bikes and,
Yes, they wanted to go wider at 8 feet so that it's more of a shared use.
Okay.
That's their concept.
Probably like what they did on 800 North down in Orem is my guess,
okay,
if that's a reference for a project that you want to see.
okay.
That went right
That's
over my head,
helpful.
but I have no idea what you're referring to, but that's okay. I trust you.
Just the larger size sidewalk.
No, I
Yeah,
know.
our typical
They were in
sidewalks
my
are
brain,
4
like,
feet wide.
I know.
It's all good.
Yeah, it just, if when it's 8 feet, you have a little more room that a bike and a pedestrian can easily share the space, and that gets them kind of off the frontage road.
Definitely.
I appreciate that you put in here that you checked their references. The one thing that kind of stood out to me was, how are these guys so much cheaper than everybody else? Everybody else is kind of like within a zone, and these guys are hanging out up here. Did that cause you any concern?
Yes, that was concerning. We have worked with the second low bidder quite a bit. It looked like Dobe had been doing most of their work for private, I think they'd done some Smiths, they've done a lot of private projects. Maybe they're now just breaking into more of the government work.
Gotcha.
But everybody we talked to 4 references, they all said that they would use them again, and that they were, one thing we asked them is if they're aggressive on change orders, how fair they are if there's a contract modification, and those 4 references were all, spoke very highly of this contractor.
Their curb and gutter, I think they moved the decimal point the wrong way on that one. That's a pretty good deal. 19,000 to 3,000. And they're taking their dirt somewhere. Yeah, I think they're getting a deal on that, because that's 18,000 to their 5,000. So yeah, they found some cost savings somewhere, that's great.
Okay, great. Thank you.
He's asking you to zoom in if you could.
Any other questions for Kevin? Then, motion on that one?
I move that we approve the bid award for the community park parking lot expansion project to Dobe Construction in the amount of $252,900.33.
Second.
Motion is second, for discussion. Councilwoman Hayman to my right.
Aye.
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 Opposed, passed unanimously. Okay, we are skipping over item 4 because have not had the RDA meeting yet.
Okay.
So let's go to.
Well, you could probably accept it.
Do you want to do it that way? 'Cause the
Then
way-
we go into a RDA.
Well, no, we'll do the city council meeting next, the first meeting in March.
Oh, okay, so you're not going into an
We did-
RDA meeting tonight?
We will tonight, but we got approved in the RDA, but in the regular meeting, we'll approve it on the first meeting in March, so we do it in order. Unless,
So you're saying skip item 4?
It's not substantial, like, we don't even really have to bring it to you, so I would just say,
well, then let's just exit and just take an RDA, we don't.
just say, we accept the letter as drafted, assuming that the RDA signs it.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, well,
We're done.
That sounds good.
okay.
We'll explain it in the RDA.
Nate, sorry you missed out, but. Okay.
Wait, are we taking
You better
a
come
vote on
running
that
up here
motion?
tonight if you want to.
We have the motions, but where's the vote?
Yeah, we need to have a vote. So what were the motions again?
so to approve the RDA request notice, subject to RDA approval, right? Yeah,
I seconded it.
Essentially, we'll ratify it.
yeah, we'll ratify.
All right, do I need a roll call on this one? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
All right.
Great. Okay, let's go to monthly financial report. The information is there for you to look at or have looked at. If you have any questions for Nate, then he's still here. Call him on up. Otherwise, it's not one of our quarterly reports, so he's not reporting on it. So any questions for Nate on that one? Okay, if not, then let's move on. Let's go to the council report. Councilmember Summerhays.
Rec District, I was appointed chair for this year.
My
Mayor
condolences.
Mayor Westergaard is our vice chair. Things seem to be running pretty smoothly. We have our first levy increase that was approved as part of the Truth and Taxation hearing last year. So looking forward to staff continuing to be diligent on their finances and operations. Continued discussions with the school district about their contribution and what we call our Farmington factor. Met with Superintendent Linford and one of their treasury heads a few weeks ago and trying to get that down the road as well. So that's what's going on in the rec district. Lots of activity. If you go there, it's just packed all the time. There's from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. at night, it's pretty busy. Trails Committee, they've completed a draft component of the trails plan for the master plan. I think, Mike, they maybe need to reach out to you to know what next steps, whether that goes to Planning Commission first or a work session here to review with council. So I think they have a draft ready to review at some point. So maybe work through, help them on and guide them on their next process. Okay. Perfect. Okay, and that's all.
Thank you. Any questions from Councilman Summerhays? Anybody, anything pressing you need to report? Okay, 9/13, September 13th, our day of service in the city. Once again, I encourage you, if you know of any businesses that need money, from the Davis Loan Fund, we have money available. So anybody in the city or the county that's looking for money. Wasatch Integrated Waste Management, the board approved a dollar tax increase in January on the pickup of your garbage cans. We are waiting to see if Layton takes any further action to try and pull out. We haven't heard anything so far. And then LPC, help me out, Gina and Brent and other members of the one thing we discussed today was this would be interesting to you, general plans potentially being approved by ordinance, which we weren't in favor of.
And be binding as well, I mean.
It's the binding part that is
The binding
concerning.
part, yeah.
I think that would really limit the potential of looking at something that's aspirational,
Yeah, it would just,
it would be impossible to keep up with. It would kill any creativity
they would never
or
change.
thoughtful, yeah, we'll,
Yep. No final vote on the billboard bill yet. What were some other big
what
bills?
was that thing what was the one we were reaching out immediately about?
Oh, I already did, Senator Adams, that's right. It was on,
Let's see if I can see it.
It's Senate-
Senate Bill 262, Housing Affordability Modifications.
that was the general plan ordinance.
Oh, yeah, that is, yep, that was it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Representative Cutler's cannabis odor
Oh, yeah.
language passed through committee. I commented on that.
Great. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. Yeah, awesome. So that's the highlights, so, because interest of time going to other things right now. So any other questions from me? Oh, anything else on, those that listen, I know that Gene and I and Brand are voting members, but is there anything else pressing that we missed? I know that Mike probably was listening and Lisa.
It was a
So-
very long agenda.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, they talked about the homelessness again, the
Yeah, they talked about the gravel
gravel
pit
pits.
thing too.
Yeah,
There's a lot.
Slippery slope.
so.
Speaking of slippery.
All right, city manager report.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. What we presented tonight is everything that I have to report, so I don't have anything for you unless you have questions for me.
Okay. No questions? Should we go back into closed session just for fun? Sure.
Just for Councilmember Haven?
Hey, I would like it noted for the record that I am wide awake and
You
fresh
are.
as a spring
You
chicken.
are.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Wow. Hey, let's put 2 weeks meeting on here. We got her with us.
All right, RDA.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved?
Second.
All right, council's adjourned. Okay, RDA meeting.
Wait, just a minute, Mayor.